Today I'm watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 4, Episode 22, the season finale, which still seems crazy to say because I feel like the last episode was the season finale. So I'm very curious to see how this episode is going to come into play, how it will relate to the season, if it'll be completely something different, or if it'll just be like a giant recap episode of everything that happened in episodes 20 and 21. It's been a crazy season so far. It's been interesting to see Buffy at university and all the things that entails. We met new characters, especially since we've killed the bad guy. You know, we've solved the season's issue with the initiative. That's done now. So I'm really interested to see what this will be. I still can't believe I'm finishing season 4. I honestly feel like I just started this show. It's been a crazy ride so far. So thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to have a say in what movies or TV shows I watch, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content.
Ooh, you pushed the button on the microwave that says popcorn?
Actually, I pushed defrost, but
Defrost.
Well, you guys have fun tonight.
Oz, come on! Stop playing with us.
Finally.
And Principal Snyder, come on!
Do you notice how pointedly I said finally?
And Joyce, we've barely seen this season as well.
now it's a gay romp. It's a feel-good movie of whatever year it was.
Oh my god, no.
Don't worry.
He went to Blockbuster and rented some VHS tapes. Glad they filmed the FBI warning. And they're out. Yeah, I was like, I'm sure as soon as they're somewhere comfortable, they'll be done. I hope this isn't like the Ring episode where they watch the movie and then they become a horror movie.
I think I should worry that we haven't found her name. Who? Miss Kitty?
Yeah, I was hoping for more kitty content.
Let us know her name by now.
Slow-mo ball of yarn.
She's not all grown yet.
You're not worried?
What is happening here? Is she doing like a back tattoo? Oh my.
You don't know everything about me.
That is true. She is mysterious.
I don't have time to think about that. You know I have all this homework to finish.
What are they going to find out about
for
Willow?
class.
Oh my gosh, what is she drawing here?
You might miss something important.
Is that some kind of spell? Oh my gosh. Dream sequences, that's my guess. Yeah, I'm very curious to see where it's going to go. Yeah, Oz is back.
Sometimes I think about two women doing a spell. And then I do a spell by myself.
Xander, no. Something's definitely off. We know Willow doesn't like being on stage. They had like that other Nightmares episode where she was singing opera. That's what this is reminding me of.
Your whole family's in the front row, and they look really angry.
There's a production?
Oh, somebody's got stage fright.
We know Buffy isn't, or Willow isn't super close with her family.
Well, you showed up later. You'd have a better part.
Oh, Cowboy Riley. Ah!
You're already in character. I should have done that.
But how come there's...
What truth are they hiding?
I don't even know what... This isn't Madame Butterfly, is it? Because I have a whole problem with opera.
All right, everyone.
Yep, we've seen that before. Yeah.
In just a few moments, that curtain is going to open on our very first...
And Giles is directing the play. Ah!
Well, you hold them, you touch them, use them.
Props?
No. Props? Yes. It's all... That's very annoying. Let's keep our heads, and if Willow can stop stepping on everyone's cues, I know this will be the best production of Death of a Salesman we've ever done.
Death of a Salesman. Arthur Miller. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm very curious as to what Willow feels like she's hiding, or if she's actually hiding, if it's her and Tara, or if it's something else. And all this pressure Willow has to like be perfect, everyone she's ever met.
Slices.
What is he talking about with perfectly placed cheese slices?
Hello, little lady. Can I hold those milk pails for you?
There's a vampire milkmaid,
But they're not very heavy.
a 20s flapper girl, and a cowboy.
Who exports?
I've come looking for a man. a salesman.
Wow. Wow. That dramatic pause. I was like, where is this going? What man is he looking for?
All I care. Throw him in and wait for the bubbles, men with your groping and spitting, all groin, no brain, 3 billion.
Oh my, quite the speech she's got.
With your sales.
Like how they've separated those two words. Oh my gosh. And definitely playing into Willow's idea of like perfectionism and like forgetting something she's supposed to do. Oh my god, cue the demons. Yeah!
Stay low. What did it look like?
And yeah, the tilted angle again of them walking uphill with the camera.
Must have done something.
Huh? I never do anything. I'm very seldom naughty.
That's true.
Is everybody very clear on this now?
Oh, Willow.
My book report. This summer I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
C.S. Lewis. Who cares? Oh, Xander. And of course, Oz is with another girl.
Has many themes.
Ah! If she dies in the dream, does she die in real life? Oh my, Joyce. Hello.
Anyway, they all left a while ago.
Oh, I should probably go catch up.
Or you could stay. Oh my. Oh my.
I'm a conquistador.
Since when? This is Xander's conquests? We know Xander had a crush on Buffy, so is he just trying to get with Buffy's mom? That's so weird. Oh, we don't need to see this, I hope.
Not the way out.
Yeah, and like the sky's overexposed. This is giving me like Terminator swing set vibes just before everything bursts into flames. Giles on the swing set is so cute. And Spike is dressed up in this like full suit.
Giles here is going to teach me to be a watcher.
Oh!
Spike's like a son to me.
Since when?
Some stuff.
Way ahead of you, big brother.
Brother.
Xander have a little sister?
Come on.
Or does he view Buffy as a little sister? Oh my. Scoffs at gravity. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's like he's watching all the other kids have fun while he's stuck working this job that he hates.
People can't do anything they want. Society has rules and borders and an end zone. It doesn't matter if...
Oh my.
I'm talking to my demon.
Talking to my demon.
We just think you're really interesting.
Of course, one's dressed all in black, one's dressed all in white. Oh my.
Is that right?
Xander, eyes on the road. Eyes on the road, Xander.
Do you want to come in the back with us?
Oh my. Phrasing. Anya, so ridiculous. Xander's dream is just about all these ladies wanting to have sex with him. Joyce is still waiting somewhere. And there's also like a bed in the back of the ice cream truck. Oh, he's crawling on out. Okay.
These will not protect you.
Why is everybody afraid of strategically placed cheese slices? I mean, I guess if you're lactose intolerant, it would be a nightmare, but strange bald man showing up with a plate of cheese.
Giles.
And this like overly green hue is like something's very off.
Your life may depend on what I'm about to tell you. You need...
La maison ne nous dormant.
They've done a few cool things with the audio in this episode as well.
Go where? I don't understand.
Ah, dis donc, ce n'est pas le temps pour les jeux idiotes.
Calls him an idiot in French.
On y va.
Well, wait! Where are we going? Where?
My high school friend should only get me so far. But that's what it sounded like. Oh, we're going upside down. And of course now he'd be in the movie, yeah.
To be shepherded. I remember it smelled like dead flowers.
I haven't seen Apocalypse Now. I feel like this is... I know Marlon Brando is in it. I feel like this is supposed to be his character.
Hope of our nation's future is a bunch of mulch.
It was that Principal Snyder, though. Yeah, I'm recognizing him now.
Are you a soldier?
I'm a confrontador.
Well, he's a soldier in the Halloween episode.
You're a whipping boy, raised by mongrels and set on a sacrificial stone.
Oh my, that's a lot to think about. That's so cool how they do the transitions literally from room to room. I'm wondering if it was all done like practically, like if they had a giant set with all these different rooms and they literally had just walked from them.
Buffy?
Or if they used editing and like cut at certain points we just don't see and then had it in different locations.
You're with us, and you're not gonna change that. You haven't got the heart.
Oh! What? His dad ripped his heart out? Oh my god, this is not good. Now we're going to Giles. Oh my gosh.
Now look into the light.
We know Giles, like, drugged Buffy before, and now he's hypnotizing her?
Come on! We're gonna miss all the good stuff.
Does she always want to try?
And Buffy's his daughter, like, acting like a little kid.
That's patient for.
Here! I want to!
Yes, go ahead.
I am a vampire.
Excellent reenactment.
Blood of the lamb and all that. How are you gonna get that all over your face?
Oh my. That's not how cotton candy works.
Hey! Come on! You're gonna miss everything!
Of course the fair's in the graveyard. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, at least it's showbiz.
This Spike's like, well, I might as well make some money off of this. I'll just become an attraction.
Haven't you figured it all out yet with your enormous squishy frontal lobe?
Is that a scary face?
I wear the cheese. It does not wear me.
This man and his cheese, what are we doing? Just put cheese on his head.
You'll miss the humorous conclusion.
Is Anya telling jokes?
We're fighting. I don't think we stand a chance.
It's strange. It's not like.
And back to his musical stylings. Does he secretly just want to become a musician full time? Is that where his story is going?
Of course. The spell we cast with Buffy must have.
Yes, a theme song.
Might be next. And Xander and Willow.
Holding up the lighters.
I just had it steam.
Amazing. Oh, great song. I love that Giles is explaining what's going on through song. It's like that spell must have done something. It came back. Oh my gosh.
With my intellect, I can cripple you with my thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you underestimate me. You couldn't know. You never had.
Oh my god, he's scalping him. That's not good. That's definitely not good. Everybody's doomed. Cheese and rice.
Be back before dawn.
Or else what happens?
Mom? Oh, hi, honey.
Why is her mom in the wall of the high school?
I'm sorry, dear. A mouse is playing with my knees.
Joyce is just casually adapting to this life.
Natural human tendency. Though you and me come by it another way.
My god, what's behind her?
Not a man among us can remember.
The demons have escaped. Please run for your lives.
Oh my god, well thank god they announced it.
Make a fort. I'll get some pillows.
Their plan is to make a fort. And now we've got this blue color as well. Oh my god, why are you rubbing? We saw that. Oh my gosh, we saw that earlier where her face was all gray. It's a horrible face mask. That can't be good for your skin.
Of course not. That's the reason you came.
Yeah, and I'm interested in Tara's connection to all of this.
The Slayer. The first.
What? The first Slayer? What? Oh.
I walk. I talk. I shop. I sneeze.
All very important things.
Just to kill. We are alone.
The man and the cheese must be stopped. Oh! She brought it back to the real world? What?
Here. You really want to say, what kind of impression am I making in the workplace? Because
That's what did. I guess you insulted her hairstyle and suddenly she leaves you alone. Astro Girl. Yeah, that's crazy.
you know, you could have brought that up to us before we did it.
I did. I said there could be dire consequences.
He says it all the time.
The spirit of the first Slayer tried to kill us in our dreams.
Oh, you want some hot chocolate?
She's so casual about it now.
Buffy's mom.
Be my kitchen buddy again? Help me carry?
Yes, sure.
He's like, I've thought things about you I cannot explain now.
Well, at least you all didn't dream about that guy with the cheese. Don't know where the hell that came from.
Please, somebody explain. They all dreamt about it. Please. Just a weird dream piece that will never be discussed.
Become what you are. You haven't even begun.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's very ominous and saying, like, better be back by dawn. Like I said, the show is very good at, like, setting things up and then recalling them later and seeing what the audience remembers. So I'm very curious as to what that leads to. So that was my first time watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 4, Episode 22, the season finale. This show definitely isn't afraid to take risks, and I feel like that was just even more emphasized with choosing this style of an episode for a season finale. Like I said, I feel like Episode 21 traditionally is more of a season finale style episode, but again, they went a different route and kind of had this bonus episode, if you will. Like, I don't know where it would have fallen within the season, like, regular episode order. They definitely took a very stylistic approach. We saw a lot of really cool camera movements and different colors. We had black and white section with Spike. We had this really green hue with Xander. There was blue and, you know, tilted camera angles as Buffy and Willow are walking through the classroom, and some parts where the audio was off, but, like, I feel like that was done intentionally, or parts where the music would cut out suddenly and then nobody would be talking and it would just be dead silent, or there would be people talking but you wouldn't see their mouths move, like it would be off camera. And again, you get that kind of creative liberty with dream sequences and you get total freedom basically because it doesn't have to make sense, as we very much saw with the Cheese Men. Made zero sense, has no meaning as far as we know. I can't see them calling back to the Cheese Man in future episodes, but who knows. But some things in dreams are just there. Not everything has to have a meaning, so it was interesting that they kind of threw that in because this is a show that recalls a lot of stuff, and I wonder if that was to try and trick the audience or if they're just having fun with it and they're like, let's throw something in that's completely out of left field. Anytime we get to see into the characters' thoughts and psyche and all of these things that we don't normally see through their daily actions or, you know, their conversations, I really enjoy it. We've seen a few episodes similar to this. We had one where their worst fears came true. We had the nightmare episode, and I love every time they take those kind of creative risks and kind of show us this like behind the scene look at the characters, especially since this season the characters were a bit separated. Everybody had kind of gone a different direction, either university or was kind of more in the background. It definitely was a departure from the first 3 seasons, so it was interesting to kind of get that glimpse into, you know, everything that they've gone through. I definitely wasn't expecting to see Oz or Principal Snyder ever again. I thought they were done, and I was a little bit disappointed Angel wasn't in it. I thought, especially with Buffy's dream sequence, he would make an appearance, but he wasn't there. Riley obviously was, so I don't know if that has meaning or if there was some external forces that prevented him from being in the episode. But yeah, I was definitely not expecting that many guest appearances. I was also expecting Faith to show up in Buffy's dream sequence, as everybody kind of had, these pieces we've seen throughout their journeys, and those are two big pieces of Buffy's story that aren't there. I definitely feel like this episode was laying a lot of groundwork for foreshadowing, whether it all comes true, whether it's just kind of vague, lines. I have no idea, but it's making me very anxious going into season 5, which is still crazy to say that out loud. And I don't know where season 5 would pick up. With the previous 3 seasons, it was very cyclical. We went around the school year, it started in September, and then the season ended with them, finishing that grade and graduation, as we saw. I don't know where Buffy is in the school year in university, or if that even matters, if they're just going to have her, continue her education, if they'll put in a few lines about, oh, that summer break was great, like it's great to be back, or something like that. I have no idea, especially with everything that happened with Adam and the Initiative. We did get a little bit of wrap up of this as we got to meet the first Slayer, which was crazy. And they did talk about, everything that had happened, and they're kind of unwinding and trying just to relax and watch a movie. I don't have any predictions as to where season 5 will begin. I'm assuming Buffy will still be in university, whether she'll be living with Willow or not. I have no idea what Xander will be doing. Again, it seems like everything was kind of left up in the air. And I don't know if that was because they didn't have a plan for the characters yet, or if that was done intentionally so they could have a little bit more creative freedom and kind of, play with a few different options. But yeah, I'm very curious to see where season 5 will go, where it's going to take us, if Spike will still be around, if Riley will still be around, what Giles will be up to, if Xander will suddenly enroll in college. I have no idea, but it definitely didn't feel like a concrete ending. But again, I don't know that we really need one. We had that closure with Adam and the Initiative and that storyline for this particular season. As far as I know, they didn't introduce a new villain that would be in season 5. I imagine we wouldn't have that until we start the next season. We did have this first Slayer, and just so cool how they play into the history of a Slayer and going back that far, and whether we'll see, the 10th Slayer at some point, or the 30th Slayer, or where Buffy kind of falls into that historical timeline, and how the first Slayer, as we've seen with even Slayers from present day, with Kendra when she was there, and Faith, and how they're very much like, be alone and focus on your goal basically and nothing else. And that also means that obviously vampires had been around since those early days. We don't know what time period she's from, but it seemed very early on in our historical context. And the fact that she, stay away from your friends, stay away from family, basically just focus on your task. And that's been Buffy's saving grace this whole time, is that she has, friends and family to support her through this, and that's what makes her so strong. And Buffy always kind of has to defend that whenever she meets another Slayer. I don't think Buffy ever thought she would meet the first Slayer. That's such a crazy concept, and I love how they slowly just kind of peel back the layers of this world, and we get to see all the different pieces. And I'm very curious to see if this first Slayer comes back into play again, if this was just a one-off dream sequence. I have no idea, but I love that they show us where things started and how we get to like that sneak peek. It reminded me a bit of the episode with the gentleman, as well as we have like the creative stylistic approach to the audio, and we had Giles speaking French at one point. I roughly translated it. I don't think you really needed to know what they were saying. It was obviously very clear that they just wanted Xander to go with them, and of course it's right when Xander's about to get some very crucial information, he can't hear a word that they're saying. I'm very excited to look up the behind the scenes about this episode, especially from like a production standpoint, how they had all the different sets. I imagine this would have been filmed on a giant sound stage, so it is very possible they had a giant set that there was multiple, locations within one place, or if they used creative cuts. But just having, a character walk from the Bronze to Joyce's house to, the university to back to the high school to Xander's house, like all these different shots, whether they were seamlessly able to just, follow the character and it didn't seem weird because it was a dream sequence, or if they had to use some, creative editing to kind of get around those location changes. And having, Xander climb out of the back of the ice cream cream truck, and now he's in his basement. And we learned a little bit more about Xander and his dad's relationship. We've never met Xander's parents, and hearing his dad kind of say like, well, I'm disappointed in you and your mother's upset, and that might play into a little bit more of why Xander kind of distances himself from them, and I think emphasizes Xander's feeling like he's a disappointment and that, you know, he's not living up to his potential. So it was definitely interesting to see that piece. This felt like they gave the director total freedom and just said, do whatever you want. Not that it didn't make sense, like it obviously still had a cohesive story, even if it was, you know, 4 separate stories. They all came together, and the fact that, you know, like, okay, we can add in this green color, sure, why not? Whereas in a regular episode, maybe that wouldn't fit. And like we had with a Gentleman episode, it's like, well, I'm going to do an entire episode of television where there's no dialogue or very little dialogue. So I love that they take these creative risks and, you know, play with the camera movements, and some shots were steady cam, and it felt like some shots, you know, were more handheld or steady cam, and some shots were extremely close or extremely wide. And again, you don't really need to justify it because it's a dream. So you get that creative freedom, which I feel like they just took with and ran. And maybe this idea of an episode was kind of like a passion project on the back burner, and they're like, we finally, you know, get to explore this. I don't feel like they could do every episode like this. When Buffy is out in the desert, it reminded me of Firefly, which is a show by the same creator, so I'm curious to see if they reused sets or if it was just a similarity. We saw Willow in this play, and we know she doesn't like public speaking and doesn't like, you know, being on stage. We saw that in the episode where she had to, you know, pretend to be an opera singer, and the fact that, you know, everything is thrown at her and she's not able to prepare, I feel like is something Willow likes to be in control, and she likes to be prepared, and she likes to, you know, have everything in order, and all of these things happening without her control was obviously something that made her uncomfortable. And Tara being this translator for the first Slayer was interesting. We know Tara is a powerful witch. I don't know what Willow was drawing on her back, so comment below if that has any significance. I definitely feel like this episode was laying a lot of groundwork for foreshadow for future episodes. I don't know if that'll all come true or not. There's only one way to find out when I watch it and see what happens. But what's worrying me the most is Buffy's dream, where they said, like, you know, it's only just begun. You're getting to know yourself. You have so much more to go, and, you know, be back before dawn, which is giving me very strong, you know, she's going to become a vampire 1.5 vibes. Please, no spoilers. But what else would that mean? So I'm very worried and curious to see what the next season is about, what she's going to discover and grow, and just all the new things that are going to come Buffy's way. And she even references the other dream sequence with Faith and her making the bed, and they were referencing a little sister in that episode as well. So there's definitely a lot of recall and a lot of previously mentioned pieces, and I love it when the characters draw back on them, and how Buffy spends her whole dream, you know, trying to find her friends who the audience knows that have been killed off in their dreams, as we've already seen their dreams. But Buffy, you know, is trying to keep that connection to her friends that all the other Slayers are saying you don't need them, and even being so separated from her friends this season is just reinforcing how much Buffy really needs her friends, and getting all those little pieces of insight, how, you know, Xander views Buffy as a little sister. Xander's entire dream was him trying to sleep with Joyce, and then trying to sleep with Willow and Tara, and then also dating Anya. So that was interesting how his romantic feelings for her, I guess, are no longer. He sees her as a little sister, because we know Xander tried to ask out Buffy very early on in like season 1. So I guess their relationship has shifted, and maybe being with Anya, you know, has affected that. I'm not too sure. And even Giles seeing Buffy as like a young child going to this fair with her pigtails, and just everybody's perception of her. There was also some ominous lines about Willow, which I'm worried to find out, where Tara is saying, you know, oh, you don't have to hide anymore, like take off your costume, and like everybody's gonna find out anyway. And I don't know if that was to reflect Willow's relationship with Tara, if it's something more, I'm not too sure. But yeah, it definitely was very vague and elusive, so I'm very curious to see if that is finally revealed, what she's hiding. I love that part where Giles is singing out the explanation for the episode, and Willow and Xander are just so focused in their books, which again is very reminiscent of earlier seasons when they were all in the library and Giles would, bring in all the books and they would reference all the monsters and try and figure it out, and he's explaining to them like, this is what's happening, guys, like pay attention, and nothing, doesn't get anywhere. He's still killed. I was worried that if they were killed off in their dreams, they would be killed off in real life, but it looks like Buffy was able to solve that, and I think by just her announcing to the first Slayer, like, I'm not giving you any power, I'm done with this. Buffy's been in enough dream sequences, she knows what to do at this point. Giles definitely sees himself as the father figure of the group, and even taking like Spike under his wing and like training him to become a watcher. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think that would be something Giles would ever pursue. That just seemed so far-fetched, but we know Spike stayed with Giles briefly, and maybe Giles just wants his own family, even though he has these, metaphorical children that he looks after. There was definitely some comedic elements in this episode as well, which I feel like we need. It can be a pretty dark and heavy show sometimes, so I love when Riley, his plan is to build a fort, and obviously the cheese man was just so ridiculous with him putting cheese slices in his head. I'm sure I'll dream about that later just because I've seen it now. And for all the stylistic effects, the scene where Xander was driving around the ice cream truck, it definitely looked like bad green screen behind Anya. You could see the outline on her hair, so I'm curious if that was intentional or if it was just what they had available at the time. But again, it's a dream, so you can kind of, explain away everything. Overall, a crazy season. I still can't believe I finished season 4 already. We got to meet some new characters as Buffy transitions from high school to university, with Riley and Miss Walsh and the Initiative, and this whole big story being, the main piece of season 4, with the Initiative and Adam and Spike becoming more of a main character and Riley becoming more involved with being in the main credits as well. So I'm very curious to see where their storylines will continue, if they'll be in the next season. Again, it could just be them being written out. We didn't really get an ending on those two characters or a wrap up or anything for this season. We definitely saw a separation of the gang in season 4 with Buffy and Willow going off to university, Xander not going to university, obviously Giles not being the librarian at the university. He doesn't really have a job. He just seems kind of, hanging around at the moment. Joyce definitely took a back seat. She was in 2 episodes, 3 this season, maybe, if that. And then even Buffy saw her like living in the walls and seeing fine with it. So bizarre. So I'm very curious to see if their characters will play a bigger part in the next season. If they do, I hope it is seamless. Some of the scenes with Xander seemed a bit forced, like, we gotta give you something to do, so here you go. And same with Giles, like they would always hang out at Giles' house so that Giles could be there. I'm glad they weren't written out of the show completely. I feel like that would be a very different show, but I'm very curious to see where their stories will continue, what they have planned for those characters. Willow got more into her witchcraft this season, and especially meeting Tara, we had that relationship develop. Her relationship with Oz ended and Oz left town completely. That character left the show. We had a few crossover episodes with, Angel leaving at the end of season 3 as well, and Buffy going to see Angel and vice versa. So I hope that continues going forward. Maybe not as frequently, but I'm very curious to see what Buffy and Angel's relationship will be like, if he'll even be in the next season, if they'll pick it up 2 seasons from now, especially now that Angel has met Riley. I liked the storyline of the Initiative. It kind of reminded me of the Dharma Initiative in Lost, how there's this like underground, secret piece that's trying to investigate these supernatural things. And then I feel like Buffy's character got to explore that piece of finding somebody who was doing something similar. And obviously more people than we thought are aware of these supernatural creatures. They know about demons, they know about vampires. It's not just Buffy. And I feel like the first few seasons, it felt very isolated. Like she was the only one who knew what was going on, and she had the whole world on her shoulders. And now that world's getting a little bit bigger and she's able to talk to people about it, and it's not such a big secret. I think season 3 was my favorite that I've seen so far. I definitely enjoyed this season, but I feel like the high school days will always have, a special place as a viewer. So I'm very curious to see where Buffy's going to go in her university career in the next season, if it'll be summer, if they'll go back to just being in class. And I love that the show continues to challenge itself. Season 4 felt like a good halfway point. Like, we've got a good backstory about the characters and they're still trying new things, but we don't know everything yet, obviously. obviously. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what new pieces will fall into place in the next season. But thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. Went to Blockbuster and rented some VHS tapes. Slow-mo ball of yarn. What truth are they hiding? A 20s flapper girl and a cowboy. If she dies in the dream, does she die in real life? Scoffs at gravity. Oh, I love it. Why is everybody afraid of strategically placed cheese slices? Calls him an idiot in French. Why is her mom in the wall of the high school?